Do you struggle to read the morning paper without squinting? Need brighter light just to find the TV remote? Do your eyes feel dry or irritated by mid-afternoon? Do headlights at night seem blinding? If so, understand this clearly. That's not normal aging. It's a warning from your retina. The retina is the thin, nerve-dense layer at the back of your eye. Its job is simple capture light and send clear signals to your brain. After 60, this layer often starts to break down quietly without pain or redness. You don't notice it at first, but your vision fades a little more each year. You start increasing text size. Faces blur at a distance. Night driving feels unsafe. Gradually, the world looks duller and less defined. This slow decline often leads to age-related macular degeneration, AMD, the leading cause of irreversible vision loss in older adults. Once AMD advances, full recovery is unlikely. The real problem is that most people don't recognize it until it's too late. But here's the critical point. Science shows that you can slow this process and even strengthen your retina with the right nutrients. You don't need costly treatments or devices. What you need is lutein, zeaxanthin, and vitamin A3 compounds found in everyday foods. They protect your retina, maintain clarity, and reduce AMD progression. These nutrients are easy to access, inexpensive, and clinically proven to help. Today, I'll show you 3 foods that deliver them effectively. Each one is simple to prepare, affordable, and backed by solid research. If this is your first session, welcome. My goal is to give you straightforward science-based guidance to stay strong, clear-minded, and independent with nutrition as your foundation. If that aligns with your goals, subscribe now. Let's start with the first food, a bright, familiar ingredient you probably already have in your refrigerator. Nutritional Pillar 1 eggs for macular defense. Let us discuss a food that is likely already present in your kitchen: eggs. The focus here is specifically on the yolk. That distinct golden core is not merely a source of flavor, it is one of nature's most concentrated sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 potent antioxidants upon which your ocular health is fundamentally dependent. These specific nutrients naturally accumulate in the macula, the central region of your retina, responsible for critical functions such as reading, driving, and facial recognition. As we age, the macula becomes acutely susceptible to oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. This is precisely where eggs provide therapeutic value. Research clearly demonstrates that lutein and zeaxanthin function like internal sunglasses. They effectively filter harmful blue light, mitigate oxidative damage, and protect the macula's delicate cell structures from degeneration. A significant study, the AREDS-2 trial sponsored by the National Eye Institute, established that older participants who received supplements containing these nutrients reduced their risk of progressing to advanced macular degeneration by as much as 25%. More remarkably, a study published in the Journal of Nutrition confirmed that consuming just 1 egg per day for 5 weeks resulted in a significant increase in macular pigment, optical density, a direct, measurable indicator of enhanced retinal protection even in otherwise healthy older adults. The key to the efficacy of eggs is not just the content, but the absorption efficiency. The natural fat within the yolk facilitates the body's uptake of lutein and zeaxanthin much more effectively than when these nutrients are consumed from vegetables alone. A comparative study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that the bioavailability of lutein from eggs was 3 times greater than that from spinach. Furthermore, the benefit extends beyond the macula. Lutein and zeaxanthin are also deposited in the lens of the eye, where they help prevent cataracts by reducing light-induced oxidative damage. Consider Margaret, age 74, a patient who had been losing confidence in her visual acuity. Following the introduction of lutein-rich foods beginning with pasture-raised eggs, her subsequent ophthalmological exam noted a tangible improvement in her macular density. I'm not claiming eggs are a definitive cure, but they are a straightforward, readily available tool for your ocular health regimen. How do you maximize their benefit? Choose pasture-raised or free-range eggs whenever feasible, as the hen's more natural diet typically results in higher concentrations of lutein and zeaxanthin in the yolks. Look for yolks that exhibit a dark orange hue, which serves as your visual confirmation. Preparation is flexible. Hard-boiled scrambled with olive oil or soft poached are all acceptable. Avoid excessive frying with butter, which may negate some of the anti-inflammatory benefits. Consistency is paramount. A single egg daily, particularly when integrated with other supportive foods, significantly contributes to long-term vision protection. Symptom: check for eggs. Central focus. Do you find the very center of your vision when looking directly at something occasionally appears dim or blurry? Facial recognition. Is it becoming difficult to quickly recognize familiar faces from across a room? Straight lines. Do straight lines like door frames or fence posts sometimes appear wavy or distorted? Color brightness. Have you noticed a persistent sense that the colors in your visual field are less distinct or vibrant than before? Nutritional pillar 2. Sweet potatoes for night vision fuel. If eggs serve as nature's protective shield, then sweet potatoes function as its gentle, sustained fuel source for your eyes. This common root vegetable is one of the most concentrated sources of beta-carotene, a plant-based compound that your body expertly converts into vitamin A, a nutrient absolutely critical for optimal retinal health. Why is vitamin A so essential? Without a sufficient supply, your retina is literally incapable of performing its function. Vitamin A is a core structural component of rhodopsin, the protein found in the eye's photoreceptor cells that enables low-light vision. Deficient levels cause these cells to weaken, resulting in night vision that is blurry, grainy, or frankly dangerous. This is precisely why vitamin A deficiency remains a leading global cause of preventable blindness, disproportionately affecting older adults. The World Health Organization notes that even minor deficiency can induce dry eyes, corneal damage, and elevated infection risk. Sweet potatoes are remarkably efficient. A single cup of cooked sweet potato provides over 200% of your daily recommended vitamin A intake, eliminating the need for supplementation. The benefits extend further. Sweet potatoes are rich in antioxidants like vitamin C and anthocyanins, which actively reduce inflammation in the retina's delicate vasculature. A 2013 study in the Journal of Ophthalmology found that older adults with high dietary intake of beta-carotene and vitamin C had a significantly lower risk of developing late-stage AMD. I understand that many patients prefer natural food over pills. A soft, naturally sweet potato provides both comfort and a clear nutritional purpose. I had a patient, George, 78, who had struggled for months with chronic dry eyes and compromised night vision. After the simple routine modification of adding baked sweet potatoes to his dinner 3 times a week, his symptoms improved noticeably. He remarked, "I can finally drive home from church at night again without constant anxiety." That is the power of targeted nourishment. The preparation is straightforward. Bake them whole, mash them lightly with cinnamon, or dice them into hearty stews. For maximum eye support, always include a small drizzle of olive oil. This healthy fat significantly enhances the absorption of beta-carotene. This is a small, impactful step you can incorporate into your meal tonight. Symptom check for sweet potatoes. Dark adaptation. When you step indoors from bright sunlight, how long does it take your vision to adequately adjust? Do you stumble or feel blind momentarily? Night vision quality. When you are a passenger in a car at night, do the road signs and objects at the edge of the light beam appear less defined than they used to? Dry eye timing. Does your sensation of dry eye primarily manifest or worsen in low-light environments? Corneal sensation. Do you feel an awareness or subtle irritation on the very surface of your eye that isn't relieved by blinking alone? Nutritional pillar 3. Cantaloupe for hydration and antioxidants. We now examine a fruit that is often understated, but provides immense retinal protection. Cantaloupe. If sweet potatoes provide warmth and substance, cantaloupe is your bright, hydrating ally. This succulent golden orange fruit is one of the most concentrated natural sources of provitamin A in the form of beta-carotene. When consumed, your body readily converts the cantaloupe's beta-carotene into retinol, the active form of vitamin A that specifically powers your retina. This action supports the cells in the macula, fortifies night vision, and helps maintain the eye's surface moisture and health. A single cup of diced cantaloupe provides over 25% of your daily vitamin A requirement. But the benefit is multifaceted. Cantaloupe also contains lutein, the powerful antioxidant that assists in protecting the retina from damaging blue light and oxidative stress, mirroring the protection offered by eggs. A 2021 study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that participants with higher consumption of fruits rich in beta-carotene and lutein had up to a 35% lower risk of developing age-related macular degeneration. These nutrients accumulate in the macula, effectively creating a protective pigment layer, a natural sunglass filter within the eye itself. Cantaloupe is exceptionally easy to enjoy. No cooking or complex recipes. Simply slice it, cube it, and consume it fresh. It is an ideal hydrating snack. A patient, Esther, age 72, had ceased eating fresh fruit incorrectly, assuming its nutritional impact was negligible. After adding cantaloupe to her morning regimen, she reported within 6 weeks that her eyes felt less dry and her reading comfort had substantially improved. Her specific words were, "It felt like someone wiped the fog off my glasses." No single food acts as a universal cure. However, when you consistently provide your body with the necessary components for retinal protection, the body responds positively. Cantaloupe offers a blend of sweetness, hydration, and antioxidants, forming a powerful supportive trio when paired with eggs and sweet potatoes, nourishing your eyes from the cellular level outward. Symptom: check for cantaloupe ocular fatigue. Do your eyes feel subjectively tired and heavy in the late afternoon or early evening? Hydration status: do you feel a generalized sense of body dryness or thirst that accompanies your dry eye symptoms? Fruit intake: how often do you consume brightly colored fresh fruit, orange or yellow varieties on a weekly basis? Eye comfort: does a quick cool compress or a cold piece of fruit near your eyes provide noticeable temporary relief from strain? Strategic implementation: removing obstacles to vision health. We have thoroughly covered the foods that promote visual health. Now we must have a candid discussion about the factors that are silently undermining it. Even with optimal consumption of eggs, sweet potatoes, and cantaloupe, certain habits can entirely nullify these benefits if you are not vigilant. The threat of excess sodium. Let us begin with salt. Excessive sodium intake demonstrably elevates blood pressure. Poorly controlled hypertension is not merely a cardiac concern. It severely damages the highly delicate blood vessels in the eyes, particularly in the retina. A 2021 study in JAMA Ophthalmology revealed that older adults with poorly managed blood pressure faced a significantly elevated risk of retinal damage and subsequent vision loss, particularly from AMD and diabetic retinopathy. When the minute vessels in your retina are subjected to chronic high pressure, they become permeable and begin to leak. This fluid accumulation beneath the macula leads to distorted, blurred vision, which can become permanent over time. The critical point is that the majority of sodium consumed is hidden within ultra-processed foods, frozen dinners, canned soups, packaged sauces, and fast food. A single frozen meal can contain more than double the recommended daily sodium limit. The danger of overeating and blood sugar. The second silent enemy is consistent overeating. Regularly consuming more calories than your body expends leads to metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and eventually type 2 diabetes, a disease that is profoundly damaging to the eyes. Diabetes specifically damages the blood vessels in the retina, resulting in diabetic retinopathy. This condition is a leading cause of blindness in seniors and often progresses without noticeable symptoms until the damage is extensive. I once treated a patient, Paul 65, a retired mechanic, who favored processed snacks, chips, and sodas. He presented with advanced blurred vision in one eye and was subsequently diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy. His struggle was complicated by the fact that he was completely unaware of the underlying issue until it had critically compromised his sight. This underscores the absolute importance of prevention. This is not a message intended to induce guilt. It is intended to promote awareness. You do not need to eliminate every food you enjoy. However, choosing whole natural foods most of the time, strictly limiting excess sodium, and maintaining a mindful approach to portion sizes provides far greater protection for your eyes than any eye drop could ever achieve. The Vision Maintenance Plan. Consistency and awareness. Knowing what protects your eyes is foundational. Knowing how to integrate it into your daily life, that is where true lasting change occurs. Let us convert these insights into a highly practical plan you can initiate today. What to prioritize: the protective triangle. Eggs, lutein, Zeaxanthin. Start your day every morning with one pasture-raised egg scrambled with a touch of olive oil or simply hard-boiled. This provides a guaranteed dose of your retinal defenders. Sweet potatoes, vitamin A. Aim to include sweet potatoes in your lunch or dinner a few times per week. Baking or mashing them or adding them to soups ensures you receive ample vitamin A for macular support. Cantaloupe antioxidant, hydration. Keep fresh cantaloupe readily available for snacks or light dessert. A cup or two mid-afternoon delivers both hydration and immediate retinal fuel. What to limit controlling metabolic threats. Excess salt. Drastically reduce sodium, especially from processed foods. Use a simple guideline if a packaged food contains more than 400 milligrams of sodium. Per serving, it is detrimental to your ocular circulation. Prioritize cooking fresh meals and utilize herbs and spices for flavor. Portion control practice. Mindful eating. You do not need exhaustive calorie counting, but consciously stop eating when you reach a state of comfortable fullness. Overeating drives the metabolic issues that quietly damage the retina. The essential step. Proactive monitoring. Annual eye exams. Once you are over 60, a dilated eye exam is non-negotiable. This allows your eye specialist to visually inspect the retina directly, which is where vision loss pathology originates. At-home Amsler grid. Regularly check your vision by covering one eye at a time. If you perceive that objects appear wavy, distorted, or significantly dimmer. In one eye, do not postpone seeking medical attention. This is an urgent signal from your retina. Your vision plan does not require perfection. It demands consistency. A simple egg, a roasted sweet potato, a few cubes of cantaloupe. One informed choice today directly contributes to improved vision tomorrow. If you have dedicated your time to this entire consultation, I want to share one final critically important message. Thank you. Thank you for demonstrating an active commitment to your health, for valuing your vision, and for maintaining the belief that improvement is entirely possible. I have witnessed this potential realized countless times. I have seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s who had resigned themselves to declining sight begin to perceive the world with greater clarity simply by providing their body with the correct nutritional tools. The truth is, your eyes do not require perfection. They demand consistent support. They require the specific nutrients that calm inflammation and nourish the retina. They need stable blood flow, regulated blood sugar, and sufficient time for healing. Above all, they need you to believe that their health is still a worthwhile investment. You do not need a restrictive, complex diet. You do not need expensive designer supplements. You simply require real food that actively supports your eyes. One egg in the morning, one sweet potato with dinner, a few slices of cantaloupe as a snack. One beneficial choice today builds a clearer visual experience for tomorrow. If you occasionally deviate from the plan, that is not a failure. It is a learning opportunity. The key is to remain engaged, one intentional bite, one step forward at a time. You are not navigating this challenge alone. If this video has provided even one actionable piece of advice or a renewed sense of encouragement, I would be grateful if you would engage with it and consider subscribing. We are building a community dedicated to aging with strength, clarity, and dignity. Your vision matters. Your life story matters, and regardless of your current age, your next visual chapter can still be your clearest one yet. Thank you for participating in your own care.